I see you now, Kelly. Can you hear me? I see you now, Kelly. Can you hear me? There it is. I don't hear you. Can you hear me? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We're getting there. Went back out the day before the lockdown and got me a fourth. Nice, dude. The day before the lockdown, we got. Well, you saw the whole thing, I'm sure. We got kicked off the jetty in Packery. Stupid. Not stupid, but stupid. And at the moment, Kelly, I'm not hearing you. You working on that now, I assume? Yeah, I don't even know what spot you're talking about, Will. Hey, Will, can you hear me okay? I assume you can. I think I could hear it on the feed here. Yeah, I don't even know where you guys are going to get those. I don't even know what lake you're going to get those. Is that Lake Mathis, Lake Corpus Christi? Or are you on the river? By the way, for anybody just popping in, my name is Stanley Orchard, and as an April Fool's joke, I'm taking over Kelly's channel. Well, you can hear me. I saw him laugh. Yeah, yet good, yet. You're okay. Okay, cool. You can hear me all right? We'll get it taken care of. I don't know what the audio issue is with Kelly on there. Okay, cool. You can hear me all right? Have that on there. You can hear me okay, Kelly. I can't hear you, man. It's out of the river that feeds into Lake Corpus Christi. Okay, cool. Man, I'm all about it. I got you, Kelly. Do your thing, bud. No, technical difficulties. YouTube and everybody has they're shutting things down just a little bit on these live streams and stuff. They're dumbing them down. What is that? They're bottlenecking them. They're throttling the live streams. So we had some issues with that a moment ago, but now I believe Kelly looks like he's going to go get himself a new pair of headphones. Live happens, man. All part of the game. It's out of the river that feeds. Yeah, I got that. I'll take you down there, but you got to seriously, dude. Hey, I've been fishing long enough to know. I know the rules on secret spots. You take me to a spot, you got my word. I will never let that spot out unless you burn me, and then that's the first thing I'm gonna do. Until I make a video. That's what Rachel's joking around about. That's what she says. Had a buddy who did that. He had a friend who was out fishing these snapper spots offshore, and or his buddy was fishing these snapper spots. Had a really good one, really good snapper spot out there, and they that dude wouldn't tell our friend where the spot was at. So they were hanging out one day, and our friend from our family went and they were hanging out on his boat, and he got the GPS coordinates for that fishing spot, and then as you know, friends go. Him, my dad, me, and like 7 other dudes went out there overnight and fished that place out. Totally took every single fish on that spot. Payback, man.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, Kelly, I'm hearing you now, man. I got you.
All right.
How you doing, man?
I'm good. I had to adjust the headphones and default to a different microphone and everything.
Yep. That's not the first time today I've heard about somebody having that issue. I think the Nimmons were having that issue.
I think there's just so much traffic on it.
Yeah, and YouTube is, well, I don't know if it's YouTube doing it, but just internet use in general is getting throttled for everybody sitting at home right now. All they're doing is playing on their phones and laptops. I know in my house right now, I've got 3 phones, 3 computers, the television, like twice as much stuff running off of the Wi-Fi that you know we normally have. And then I'm sitting here live streaming. That doesn't help anything.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you know, the live streams for guys like us right now is the only thing that's keeping our channels active. Oh,
yeah, I hear you on that. And I don't know if you saw the video that I put out today. I was kind of hesitant. Like I made that video just as a kind of a like it was a vlog, it was a video log, so that we could just keep track of current events, something that Savannah could watch when she's older, if they're ever talking about that kind of thing, looking back on it. And we were against it, put that video out there and stuff like that. And Rachel's actually she's upset with me for having posted it in the first place. But we went ahead and posted it, and it's just like, I got nothing, I kind of felt the need to put something out. And this has been our life for the last week. So,
yeah.
Dude, Will, I'm all about it. I am all about a 7-foot gar, man. I sit there hooked into one. I could, that would be so awesome. A 7-foot gar. Kelly, you ever caught a gar?
Yes. Long nose. I've never caught a gator gar.
It's been a long time since I've done it.
They're a lot like work.
Yeah.
Have you ever cleaned one? For those of you that haven't, I still have the IT people from StreamYard blocking my chat, so I don't know who's in here.
Okay, I got you. I tell you what, you're on the computer?
Yeah, I found out you can be on your mobile phone, but the host can't. It has to be from a computer. So the quality's a little less on my laptop's webcam.
Well, I'll tell you what, as a heads up, feel free to do this, or if not, that's fine. I can take over on the chat. But what I do is I got a second phone sitting off to the side that I use for the chat. To be able to check that out.
About to.
Gotcha. Speaking of which, what's up, Grant, man? Good to see you, dude. I hope you are having a wonderful day today. How you been doing? Fished freshwater more this past month than I have in the past 10 years. I've fished freshwater more in the past 3 months. I say 3 months, like December and January, we did a little bit of freshwater. And that's the most I've done in the last, I don't know how many years. And I plan on doing a little bit more. It's not my forte, but I had fun with it. And it's, little quicker access than the beach is, especially when you're not allowed on the beach. So, although I think that's been revised. I think we can go to the beach now.
I can't. It's a 2-hour drive.
Can you go to anywhere?
Huh?
Oh, yeah.
Well, it's a 2-hour drive to the beach, and the closest beach here is New Jersey, and New Jersey's pretty much shut down. Our actually we had so many counties in lockdown until today. Now the entire state is.
Yeah, I think it's New York and then you guys, right? Like y'all are leading the pack.
It's New York,
as far
New
as the worst.
Jersey. See, I live on the east side of Pennsylvania, so
New Jersey doesn't count as a state. New Jersey is like the Florida of New York. They don't count.
To some extent, yeah. But I live on the eastern side of Pennsylvania, so you have. I'm a lot closer to like New York City than I am any Pennsylvania city.
Oh man, that blows my mind. I hear people talk about that kind of stuff. All over the Midwest, people talk about the distances between different places, and it blows my mind. Down here in South Texas, it would take me, at the shortest, it would probably take me 4 hours to get out of the state. And the distance from like here to Dallas is like 6 hours, 8 hours. It's less than 8, but it's.
I can get out of the state in 20 minutes.
I can't get to Corpus Christi in 20 minutes. I can't get to the beach in less than twice that time.
The nearest beach up here would be Seaside Heights, New Jersey.
Let's see. Just hooking up in a monster and a small body of water is awesome. Totally agree with that. That little bass I got over January was a whole lot of fun. But man, again, getting into gars and stuff like that, that would be just another sick level of freshwater fishing. Justin's fishing fetish. Good to see you, sir. Appreciate you stopping by. We're just having a little bit of a chat here and hanging out, kind of decompressing after having been stuck in quarantine for 72 days now, something to that effect.
Well, I mean, I'm still going to work, but it's a double-edged sword. I don't know if it's fear or I'm fearing it more than I should, but I've got some pre-existing conditions before this that were respiratory issues, and if you catch this with respiratory issues, evidently you can be in for a world of hurt.
So yeah, that's one of those they shut you down on.
Yeah, but also my wife's job, I mean, thus far she hasn't been one of them, but that might be just walking the razor's edge. That might be coming soon. They let go of 155 people yesterday.
Yeah. I will say I want to stay positive on that one for a couple of reasons, because I do plan on talking to you about taking advantage of your wife's job here, and that as soon as all of this is over. Mm-hmm. But if they made them cuts, hopefully, is she basically like, does she do the predominant amount of her work with people in your area in Pennsylvania?
No.
That's a good thing.
No, they have she's I think wholesale. She's like a wholesale agent. What she does is she sells the packages to travel agents, and the agents sell it to. She does groups right now.
Okay.
But hold on, you're a wholesale travel agent, right? Yeah, wholesale travel. But you can sell.
Oh, I like the sound of that. I want my travel agents purchases done on wholesale.
She laughed.
Nice. Yeah, I know.
Because you had mentioned something about you also Cozumel? Yeah. Cozumel. You had mentioned something about Cozumel before, right?
Yeah, we go every year. I love it there. If I could, we have looked into buying property, haven't pulled the trigger, but I absolutely love it down there.
Can you hear me okay? Is my mic adjusted okay?
Yeah, you're okay. And people in the chat, let us know if there's any audio, video issues here and stuff. We've had some technical difficulties. I think we got it all taken care of, but let us know if there's any issues with the audio or anything.
We've been in quarantine for 2 weeks, but I'm considered essential, and my wife is an RN.
Cheers.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, my job is considered essential. Pennsylvania, they actually changed the ruling to life-sustaining because everybody was starting to find themselves essential.
I got some beef with that. I got issues with that statement. That with the essential services thing, I got issues with that.
Yeah.
Name something that's not.
I think if it's how you put food on your table, it's pretty essential to you.
That's how everybody's thinking. I mean, even GameStop was able to stay open. They had that whole issue that they're dealing with. GameStop doesn't even sell a product that is predominant in today's society. You know what I mean? Most games are bought via downloads.
Yeah, true.
So that was my thought, because at first I was like everybody else. Like I got tagged essential, energy sector and all that stuff. And I'm kind of like, I felt a little privileged about that. But I was talking to Rachel about it today. We were hanging out and we were sitting there talking about all the people who have claimed essential service or whatever the case may be. And I cannot think of a place that is shut down where that is not essential. That I can't think of a business in town. The Italian restaurant.
Right. Well, restaurants here, they're doing takeout only. They'll bring it out to your truck, but you can't go in and eat or anything.
Well, the Italian restaurant in town got shut down because they didn't have to my knowledge, I don't even know, I could be totally wrong about this, but to my knowledge, they didn't have a takeout option. And that's the only reason I mentioned them. And I could be totally wrong on that. They could still be open.
Yeah, there are. You get your test results back?
I will be getting those back tomorrow.
Scared me a little bit with that coughing fit.
You couldn't hear that, right? I thought I had muted that when I was coughing.
You didn't mute it, but I can see you.
Yeah, I got a cough, and that's what the whole thing centered around. I went to work, and I had a little bit of a fever, and had a little bit of a cough, and I had received a dozen emails telling me all about, if you get sick, if you experience these symptoms, you need to let everybody know, and you need to stay home, and go through the whole 9 yards. So I had a cough and a little bit of a fever, and I let them know. And I'm not going to say it wasn't a bad decision. I needed to let them know, but man, I was not expecting the paperwork, phone calls, emails, the work that I would have to do in just letting them know. I did not get it. The first day when they sent me home, I did not get any rest. I probably spent 6 hours doing paperwork because of all of this. And that test sucks. Practice social distancing, because that test sucks.
I don't know. We don't have tests.
Oh, seriously? They don't have them available over there? We just got them, but they ship them off to a central location to actually run the test. They just administer it here.
Like I said, I live pretty close to New York. New York's such a disaster that they're just chewing up materials.
Yeah. Yeah, that test is no joke, dude. They aim for the spine through your nostril with a Q-tip covered in alcohol. Sucks.
My brother works at a paint store, and he's considered essential. They closed all construction workers here. Like I said, they changed that from essential to life sustaining.
Yeah, because you're on the next level of it. Hopefully, and now I don't mean to demean what you guys are going through, but hopefully, as a result of you guys going through what you are, the rest of us will get our stuff together, and we're not going to have to deal with that. Because you're right, you're on the next. We're essential. You've got the life sustaining issue of it,
Right. Right, mate. Ouch. Yep. It's it's a double-edged sword because what I think people that are running the numbers, what they're not realizing is it's just this or the coronavirus and COVID-19 or whatever. And I know everybody's a little tired of all this news, but it is what's going on right now. So I apologize.
And it's also what people want information on.
Right. But what they don't start to realize is just because coronavirus or COVID-19 or whatever you want to call it come around doesn't mean everything else stopped. People still die in car crashes. People still dying from cancer. People still dying from heart failure. People still dying from this, and this, and now in this area anyway. So hopefully y'all, like you said, you take this and you go, no, let's not go there. What's happening in this area is our healthcare system is so overrun that more people are dying from other things as well, plus the respiratory issues from COVID-19 because they don't have materials, they don't have staff, they don't have, all the IC units are full.
We've got that where we can do construction down here, but nobody's got the materials to do it. Will, I see what you're saying there, dude. That sounds freaking awesome. We're going to have to put it side by side because swordfish, that's a whole nother level of freaking awesome right there. And I would argue anything against swordfish, but I would love to have that taste test.
What's he saying is swordfish?
He's saying that he just cooked up some alligator gar and he's putting it up against swordfish quality-wise. I am not arguing the quality of gar, but I am arguing the principle of swordfish being the best tasting fish ever.
Well, you get a lot more meat out of swordfish, and I would say they're easier to clean. You don't need a hacksaw and 10 snips to clean swordfish.
Yeah. No. In fact, swordfish, one of the things that's pretty cool, well, kind of strange about them or whatever, You have to use kind of a specially selected hook. Their skeletons are like, or at least their skulls are like paper, so it's real hard to get a hook set on them. So, flaying them's easy though. This is big. Yeah, Justin, I don't disagree with you on that, man. It has been, because all it is a mutation of a previous virus that, did exist. That's all this is.
Well,
not all this. I don't mean to demean it. It's not all that it is, but that's what it is.
A coronavirus or corona is a type of virus like influenza, and that's been around for SARS. SARS was a coronavirus.
Yep, so is the cold.
All right, this particular strand, COVID-19, has only been discovered on the planet for since December of 2019.
Yeah, and it had been around prior to that in bat communities. That was one of the things that was kind of strange about this one as opposed to others, is that it was able to migrate various different species. That doesn't happen very often. Like Asian, that was the big thing about swine flu and Asian bird flu or whatever, is that they were able to jump populations.
Well, there was swine flu and bird flu. They're both influenzas. They're just different strains of an influenza. And supposedly, like this one, they both were created by a zoology strain of the virus. I mean, I don't know for certain if it's just a rumor. I can't confirm it as fact or nothing, but I've heard that it started in like wet markets, bat wings or something like that.
Yeah, it was. I believe they traced it back to bats. But they didn't. It wasn't. They traced it back to bats. But I saw a thing by a YouTube channel called Joe Scott, whom I have a whole lot of respect for. I love his channel. I love the stuff that he does, his research. And he had mentioned on a thing that he had done that he had interviewed a gentleman who's highly respected. He's part of the whole, Fauci crowd or whatever that is, the scientists involved with this. And that guy was talking about how while this had come from bats, they can trace it back to bats. It did not jump from bats to people. There had to have been a what I believe he called it a carrier.
Right.
Yeah. There's something in between bats and people that got here. It's not from people eating bats, and it's not from people dealing with bats. Something happened where it jumped from bats to like ticks or fleas or something in order to cause the spread that it did in Wuhan.
Yeah, because I guess there's some things going around. Like people were taking their dogs to the pound and to the shelters because they'd heard that their dog could get corona, which I guess an animal can get a coronavirus, but it's only transferable human to human. Your dog can't give it to you, and you can't give it to your dog.
Yeah, and I want to say that it also affects them different.
Right.
I don't know that, but I think that's the case, I believe. I got like 50 pounds of gar. That's insane, dude. Shoot, Chad dropped some off. I want to take a shot at that. I'll do a video on it. We'll do a I didn't catch this and cook video. Cooking up some gar. I'd like to try swordfish and gar. Don't have any here in Ohio, dude. I tell you what, swordfish is. I'm gonna say swordfish is my favorite all-time eating. I'll eat it raw out the boat. We pull them in, and I'll cut a section off the head and eat it. Good with wasabi. What's your favorite, Kelly? I don't know if we've had this discussion now. What's your favorite all-time eating fish?
I don't have a lot of saltwater experience, seafood restaurants. Or
that doesn't matter. What's your favorite fish? What's your favorite, like, if you're gonna go somewhere, or if you're gonna fish for something because you want to catch that fish that is just the best tasting thing you've ever had, what would be the fish that you would go for?
Freshwater, yellow perch, or walleye, I think.
I've never had yellow perch. Walleye is good. I've never caught it, but my father-in-law has caught them, and that was good. I enjoyed it.
I lived in Minnesota for a brief period of time. Used to work for a railroad maintenance of way company that was based outside of Haymill, south of Minneapolis. And the foreman on my machine that I operated, Tom, He was from I can't remember the name of the town. He had a cabin on Lake of the Woods. He was from northern Minnesota. And we would go up there, but in northern Minnesota or these small Minnesota towns, man, every Friday night at bingo halls and church basements and honky tonk taverns, they have, fried perch fries or walleye fries, or you find them everywhere. We go into these bars in Minnesota and it'd be all you could eat fish fry Fridays.
Yeah.
So I developed a bit of a taste of it over there.
I got to say, one of my favorites, the reason I asked it like that is because, like you were saying, it's like, oh, I hadn't done saltwater fishing, I hadn't caught swordfish, I couldn't say. But at the same time, like one of my favorites is like kippers. What are those things? That's a kind of mackerel, right? I think. Herring. I love herring. Never caught one, but I love herring.
We're in Fort Myers, Florida on the Gulf.
Triple tail, that's a good one. Yeah, Will.
I guess it's been about 5 years ago now. And we had a red grouper was in season. I had like 3 baskets of that. So
I don't know if I've ever had red grouper. What's the worst? What's the worst one you ever had? I got stories of the worst ones. I don't know if you can hear Rachel yelling at me. She's the one screaming about the worst fish that we've ever done.
To eat?
Yeah.
Probably carp. I just couldn't get over the fact it was a carp.
Yeah, I haven't tried carp, but I'm going to do it. I've heard terrible things about it. I'm going to do it one day just to do it so that I can be a part of that conversation.
That might be more of a psychosomatic thing.
That's how it is with hardheads down here, and I totally bought into that until about 2 years ago. Hardheads are terrible. You don't eat them. I didn't even know if it was poisonous till 2 years ago. And then I went camping on the beach a couple years ago. I actually did a YouTube video about it, one of our early videos. And I was eating what I caught while camping out there, and I caught some hardheads. I was like, well, shoot, let's try it. Let's taste it. They're not good, but they're not bad. They're not terrible. There's it's not something I would catch to eat unless I was hungry, but there wasn't anything wrong with it. The belief out there is far worse. The what people believe about it is far worse than the actuality of it.
I think it's like a lot of Justin just said, if you prepare carp right, it's great tasting, and that may be the case.
Same way with hardheads.
Matter of fact, do you know what the most popular game fish in the world is?
I want to take a guess. The most popular game fish in the world.
The most popular sports fish in the world.
I would guess like pollock. Something like what are those things that they catch? Lingcod? Cod? Most popular game fish in the world. No, it's got to be most popular. Not everybody has access to marlin. Bass?
Most popular in North America, but not in the world.
Okay.
It's like soccer. Americans hate it, and the rest of the world loves it.
I love soccer. You got me stumped.
It's
what
actually
is it?
Carp.
No kidding. It's carp. Yeah. Right immediately, as soon as I said that, Rachel's like, "Oh yeah, it's because you get to hit him with a bat."
That's Asian carp, which aren't actually in the carp family.
Yeah.
Carp.
Justin got it. Ladyfish, dude. Will I tell you what? Yes, ladyfish. The meat is good. The meat is totally good. But then every single tiny scale's got them hair bones to it. It's just like having hair in your food. It's disgusting. Although I gotta say, if you find a way to prepare it, the meat is good. My all-time worst eating is Jack Crevalle. Those things are freaking disgusting. Chock full of worms. They're oily. They're just terrible.
Or if you bleed them out, they're edible.
It's all blood. Like you cut the fillet, bleed it out all you want, but you cut the fillet off that thing, and it's like Merlot red. There's no bloodline. It's like the whole thing is bloodline.
When I was a kid, I used to think striped bass was the nastiest tasting thing in the world. But I figured it out because, I grew up in the South. They call striped bass rock bass. Why, I don't know. Some parts of Tennessee, they call striped bass a rock bass. And what most of the world calls a rock bass is called a red eye. But anyway, I used to think striped bass was nasty. What it is that red meat, that blood meat inside striped bass, yeah, that's nasty.
Mm-hmm. And
growing up with my grandparents, they didn't fillet fish. That wasn't a thing to old timers because you waste too much meat that way or something,
Mm-hmm.
If you don't fillet a striped bass, you eat the red meat. That red bloodline or that red meat, that's disgusting.
I'm like that with bonita. Bonita is like these tiny little tuna that you can get down here, and they're super bloody. I don't mind eating them, but they're real fishy tasting. But yeah, you cut out that bloodline, and you're cutting about half of the meat out. But you'll actually get an edible, piece of fillet if you cut out that massive bloodline.
Hello, Urban. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, what was it, Justin? I had something to say about that. Now I totally forget what it was. Jacks are good. If we don't all die, I'll cook you up some. I will eat jacks, but I got to say the jacks I catch are like 36 inches. That's not true. I'm totally like flexing on that one or whatever. But every jack I've ever done is bloody as heck and full of worms. I've never had a good jack. What's not bad is mullet. Mullet is not bad eating.
The bait fish?
Yeah, I know, right? That's what everybody says. That's what everybody's like. Mullet? You mean like the bait? You mean like out the toilet? But what people don't understand, and it is slightly different, but the exact same species of mullet we have down here, the 9-stripe mullet, sells for like $10 a pound in Hawaii. They eat them. It's good, and they're not bad. They're not great, but they're not bad. Yeah, it's a cultural thing with that.
Yeah. Actually,
Bermuda chub. I've heard Bermuda chub is bad. I've never actually eaten it.
Actually, the unfortunately named Asian carp, the only market for them is in Asia. They're a delicacy over there, and here we can't get rid of them because people call them carp, so nobody wants to eat them. They are.
I've heard some people. I've heard people talking about that, and I'm aware of that issue. I think they should rename them. I think that's part of the big issue. They need to rename them something that sounds delicious. Because it's because they're called carp, even though they're not a carp. People hear that and they're like, nah, that can't be any good.
They have tried. They actually did rename it. People just keep calling them Asian carp. They renamed it to silverfin.
They did. Okay. Silverfin. See, that sounds a lot more tasty.
It does, but they were called Asian carp for so long that
it stuck.
When you want people to eat them, they're silverfin. When they're a problem fish, people call them Asian carp.
Yeah. I have an issue with that. I mean, I like that they call them silverfin, trying to switch over that mentality and stuff like that. But at the same time, like they switched over. I have beef with this. That we have the Jewfish down here that they recently renamed to the Goliath grouper. I'm totally against that. I don't, and I don't, I'm not Jewish. I'm not of Jewish descent. I don't understand if it's offensive to somebody of Jewish descent. I don't understand where that's offensive. If you had a South Texas grouper, I would think that's pretty cool. But a cultural thing, I'm not going to deny that is a something someone could be concerned about. But at the same time, I grew up, and this thing has always been a Jewfish to me. Goliath grouper just doesn't flow off the tongue as well.
I've always heard them called Goliath grouper. I've never heard them called Jewfish.
I hadn't heard Goliath grouper until like the last 10 years. Growing up, we always joked about getting Jewfish off the jetties and the oil rigs and stuff offshore. It was always Jewfish to me. In the Texas State Aquarium, I remember that. I remember when they used to call them Jewfish.
Justin says Asian carp are great bait. Yeah. Use what you got access to.
Hey, Will, appreciate you coming and hanging out, dude. Enjoy your alligator gar. I look forward to getting to take a crack at some of that myself. I don't think I've ever eaten gar. I need to try it.
While we're on the subject, there's actually talks. Well, a couple of years ago. After this, who knows, man? Well, we're in the middle of it right now. But there were talks about reintroducing the alligator gar in areas
up north.
Because, huh?
Yeah, up north.
Well, even up north, but they used to be in Tennessee, Kentucky, Arkansas, Florida. They used to be all over the Southeast, but they got sort of a reputation as a monster fish, a nuisance, and people would kill them and throw them out of the water, thinking they were even dangerous. Which I guess there's not actually a lot of recorded cases of a gar attacking people. Now, I will say, if you even a smaller long nose one, if you catch it and get it up in the boat and it flops around on the deck, that's danger. They got little razor blades teeth.
Yeah, they're tough if you get them.
But, there's talks of reintroducing the alligator gar in places that, I mean, they're, I don't know if they still are, but I think they're actually, Justin I know, on the endangered species list. Because they were.
Yeah, I didn't know that. They're all over the place down here. I didn't know that. But then we got alligators too, and like you go to Florida and you get a tag to get alligators, but man, getting an alligator tag down here in Texas is you got to know someone.
But anyway, there's talks to breed them and reintroduce them into waterways because they're one of the few native fish in North America that get big enough to help with the Asian carp problem.
Yeah.
That can actually feed off of an Asian carp. The only issue with that is I don't know if you're solving a problem or adding to one.
I don't agree with the approach myself. I'm not going to lie. I don't have a problem with you doing it. If that was a species that pre-existed there, I don't have a problem with that, reintroducing it. But I think that if it's a problem, if Asian carp is a problem, and I think it is, but if you believe that Asian carp is a problem on the ecosystem, I think that the first thing that needs to happen is you need to create a commercial market for that. You need to give tax credit to anybody who uses Asian carp as dog food. Create a market for it.
You can just sell it to pet food companies.
Yeah, exactly. End that problem right there. The first thing you want to decimate a species of fish, create a commercial market for it.
Yeah, commercial fishermen can fish anything out of existence.
Oh, hold on. Rachel's motion. Don't talk about dogs. She's motioning at me to not say something. She's telling me to shut up. I don't know what I'm saying that's inappropriate. You still there, Kelly?
Yeah.
Okay. It looks froze up on my screen here. Can you still see and hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, it froze up on my screen, but that's fine. So anyway, yeah, Rachel's motioning there. Apparently there's something I shouldn't be saying about using them as pet food. Whatever it is, I can't understand. She's on the other side of the room. But yeah, bottom line, I believe they should be used as pet food or fertilizer, something. Create a commercial market for it.
Right. I totally agree. I did see, was it Berkeley or Cumberland, a lake in Kentucky that had a commercial fishing contest for them. They had like a grand prize for the most pounds they could catch, and they caught thousands of them, and it didn't make a dent.
Oh yeah. I think that's nice. That's that's a fair effort. But yeah, I mean, again, you can take all the recreational anglers in the state and have them go out there and try to catch something like that. And at the end of the day, they are not going to do anything near as good as a commercial trawler.
No, it was a commercial competition.
Oh, like the commercial boats went out there, like trawlers went out there trying to get them?
Yeah, the net.
Yeah, that's insane.
They caught tens of thousands of them, and they're still sick.
Huh. Hey, do you guys have the electric dams separated, or is that just like the Great Lakes that has that? 'Cause I don't even know what that is. I just know that it exists.
We might in Pennsylvania. Like I said, I didn't grow up here. I'm not real familiar with the landscapes of Pennsylvania. But if you're talking about growing up in Tennessee, yeah, because Tennessee is the home of the TVA, Tennessee Valley Authority,
right?
Which supplied hydroelectricity for most of the South for 50 years, maybe. The TVA was part of the New Deal.
Oh shoot! I just saw the chat. I guess my chat froze up on me too. Mahi mahi. I tell you what, dude, Justin. Sorry if that was if I'm a little bit late on getting to that one. Mahi mahi. I tell you what, they're good eating. They're a whole lot of fun to catch. I don't even know that I would put mahi in my top 10. Not actually a fan of those things. Depends on what area. Go ahead, Kelly. What were we saying?
It's one I've actually had. Mahi.
They're not bad. They're not bad.
It's okay, but
they're a lot of fun. I've got mahi in my freezer. I'll take them. It's just one of those that you can stack the deck with those things. It's like the bag limit on those is like 20, and they get pretty big, and they're fun to catch, and the meat is good. But doesn't even break my top 10 favorite list. Yeah, Grant, I'm having issues on my end over here too. Chat's slowing up and it's freezing up on me here too. Sorry, man. Yeah, we're getting throttled by YouTube. That's just the way it's going right now.
I apologize. So I think it's also broadband because you're on my channel and the East Coast. I know things are jammed up right now.
Yeah. It's in the Mississippi. Yeah, I knew they had it in the Mississippi River. Try to keep it out of the Great Lakes. It's Asian carp is the big one that they're going for on that. They get big money for spoonbill eggs around here. You know what's funny about spoonbills? We got those down here too. And yeah, any birds, spoonbills, the brown pelicans, even vultures. That is a big time fine in Texas to mess with any of those. We hand feed the pelicans, and I can't show that footage on a video. Because I don't want to get, I'll get a fine for that just by showing it. Pelicans and dolphins.
The spoonbill or shovelbill, I'm guessing it's a paddlefish, right? Spoonbill catfish, paddlefish.
Spoonbills. Oh, if we're talking about the same thing, I'm talking about the spoonbill bird. You guys are talking about spoonbill catfish. I'm sorry. I thought y'all were talking about the bird.
But the spoonbill or paddlefish, whatever you want to call them, I've heard them called both. You ever seen one clean?
Seen what?
Have you ever seen one of those fish cleaned?
The spoonbill? No, they're talking about a fish. Rachel's telling me to read this sign she wrote for me across the room with a highlighter that I can't read.
I literally did a paper on it.
Sorry.
Along with fine.
But yeah, the fish in states where it's legal. Some states they're catching release only, and some states it's legal to snag them. Because they're the spoonbill is actually like they're in the same category as the Asian carp. They're plankton strainers. They're filter feeders.
The paddlefish. So gotcha. Okay.
Right. But you ever seen one clean? They're funny.
No.
They don't have a bone one. All they have is a paracord. It runs down their backbone. You take it, you cut the tail off, bring your knife around there, and you just pull out this cord with a pair of pliers. and it's perfectly clean.
Wow, I didn't know that. We're like that with sharks. Sharks only have a backbone,
Of
but
course, you get it, obviously. Yeah, it's like a shark. Yeah, but sharks have an actual backbone, right?
they do. Yeah, they have a segmented vertebrae.
Spoonbill, they have their spinal
Can you?
their spinal cord is just a paracord. It's like it's almost like a fiber optic cable.
Wow, no, I need to. Now I want to look that up and I want to see. I've never seen anything like that.
And then once you gut them and take a paracord out, and then you just cut them into steaks. The spoonbill is great. Yeah, I've had them, Justin. They're not bad. They're pretty good. And honestly, Asian carp kind of tastes a little bit like them. Asian carp are a lot more bony though. I mean, obviously in a fish it doesn't have any bones, but Asian carp's actually pretty white, flaky. We fished the ocean and ate everything.
But
Dang, I want to fish the ocean and eat everything. Well, some things in the ocean will get you, so be careful. Of course, some things in freshwater will get you too. Be careful with those gar. You know, if you cut the eggs on one of them, they're poisonous. Let's see what else we got. Spoonbill fish, Grant. Yeah. Depends what area you're in. Spoonbill protected here in Ohio. Yeah. Protected in Ohio, and I don't think we even have them in Pennsylvania. But growing up in Tennessee and Kentucky, you can do it. You can catch one. One each you can take home now and eat. You can even bowfish one. They're no longer protected there. You're still on mute, Stan. You're still muted. I've never even seen the ocean. Wow, you've never seen the ocean, Justin. Wow, but uh-oh. All by myself. I've fished the ocean a couple of times. I've surf fished off the northeastern seaboard shore. And I fished off of Florida back in the day. I've seen all the oceans except, all the oceans here except the Arctic. Lost him. I think he muted and blacked his camera out. He's got something going on. No, he's not going. He's still on the stream. He's just hiding, I guess. He has something going on that he can't put on camera. I don't know. Stream froze on me. Couldn't unmute. I'm backstage. Yeah. We just said, I see him in my little box down here. Been in Ohio my whole life. I was a grown man before I left Tennessee. I was 20. Oh, excuse me. You can add me back.
Can you hear me okay now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. Sorry about that. The whole thing froze up on me.
Hey, Mike. Long time no see, buddy. How you been?
What's up, Mike?
Man, I ain't seen Mike much since like Whole Outdoors last year.
Dude, I haven't seen that dude in like a month, and I didn't want to say anything about it because I assume he's busy or stressed out or something. I didn't want to add to it. But I know if he's not making the rounds, he's got something going on. Unless he thinks I hate him or something.
Living the dream.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
So, oh, you're not on quarantine. You're working. I was gonna I don't know. I was gonna say I thought because being on quarantine and stuff like that, I was gonna get more sleep. But it's just more opportunity to do stuff around the house. Less sleep.
Yeah, did you see that meme going around? A shout out to all the husbands at home that been saying for years, I'll get to it when I find time.
Yeah.
Well, honeydew list is long now.
I hadn't seen that, but that's hilarious. That is exactly me. I got like 10 things that I can accomplish now that I haven't.
But it seems like since I've gotten married, man, just every one of these things just hits us, comes and slaps us in the face right when we're getting ready to do big things. And my son was born in 2003, and he was premature. He spent thousands of dollars in hospital bills. So 2004 was hard. Recovered from that, and then got hit in 2008 in the financial recession. Didn't work for a year. And now getting hit again in 2020, most likely. We talked earlier. Me and my wife are actually looking into and considering alternative living.
Yeah, we can have that talk. I'm happy to have that conversation.
What have you all looked into over there?
Well, Rachel loves those shows where they talk about remodeling, stuff like that. Her father does construction, remodeling, stuff like that, and he's a total pro at it. He knows more about construction and remodeling than anybody knows about anything, as far as I've seen. So yeah, we were looking at we've looked into the tiny homes. I would like to push for the mobile home because I would love to be able to travel around and stuff. But probably, yeah, I don't know. We haven't figured out the physics of how we would pull something off like that. But man, the idea of doing the tiny home sounds awesome to me. Rachel too.
Yeah. I have 2 teenage sons right now who are in high school. So, well, I mean, nobody knows how hard this is going to hit us. Maybe in 2 weeks we'll all go back to normal, and who knows?
Yeah,
Maybe in a month, 54% of our economy's on the bubble.
Yeah.
But Mike, I learned how to make my own sandwich during all this. She made me butter the bread and everything. I had to cut my own triangles, gentlemen. These are hard times.
Mike, you are in our prayers, sir. Husbands all over understand your plight.
But we've my wife likes those yurts.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it's basically like a home you can put up and tear down or whatever. And I've seen a couple. There's actually a lake near here that you can rent them. And in the Northeast, I don't know if a yurt canvas walls are sustainable. Not only that, but land is just so expensive here. So if we did do the alternative living, I don't think it would be here. But
we got
my best friend in high school, ironically enough, his family's from where I live now. His dad's side anyway. But my best friend in high school is a master carpenter. And they built a house, a regular house, in the Cove area where we lived. and then he built it as I forgot what he called it, spec house, I think. He called it. Sold that house. But they lived there for a little while and then sold it once they could in the market. Because when we were in high school, we had built, we called it a cabin, clubhouse. He'd been working with his dad as a master carpenter since he was like 12. But he built that. He turned that into a tiny house. He's got a kitchen, a bathroom, a loft, and all that. It's just him and his wife, of course. And they lived there for a little while. Well, after they sold the house and moved into the tiny house and everything, having no bills for him really came in handy. He was in a major motorcycle accident, was in a coma for like 8 weeks. So the hospital bills piled up. They were able to pay them and keep the wolves away from the door because, they didn't have a light bill. They didn't have a water bill. They don't have a mortgage. They don't have, He's the freest person I know,
That's how I feel about it. Like if the easiest way to get rich nowadays is to cut the expenses, because everybody's going to capitalize, from your cell phone carrier to the TV provider to anybody selling you a home. You get yourself in on something where you can have a quarter of an acre that you can put a small slab of cement and some Connex containers that you can weld together. You have property. The real estate's where it's at, I don't know. That's my thought.
Yeah, so.
Mike. I love you, Mike. We miss you, man. I don't know where you've been, but we missed you.
And I'm not sure if in today's society or market, if houses are an investment or if they're just an expenditure. You got to pay to heat it, you got to pay to light it, you got to pay the taxes on it. You got to, pay.
You know what? I agree with that, but I will say that I don't think they're the best investment. They are an investment. But man, you take that compared to it's such a disposable society that we live in these days. You look at a house versus a car, which is going to drop in value faster than just about anything you own, except the TV that you own, which is going to drop faster than anything. People invest real money in a TV and a computer and stuff like that. And I don't think computers are quite as bad as televisions. But man, televisions and cars, those things drop value like nobody's business. That's like buying a rock and dropping it in the ocean. Houses, and I actually had a conversation about this, and Rachel and I have had a conversation about this, and I don't understand the mindset, but I follow guys from a financial standpoint. I try to make smart financial decisions. And one thing that I keep hearing over and over and over again is these guys who rent houses, and they buy like 30 houses over 10 years. And they rent them all out, and then they live in a rental. They don't live in a house that they own, because every house that they own, they are renting out to somebody else. And I've talked to these guys, and I'm like, why do you do that? Just live in one of the houses that you own. No, because that house could be making me money. And I disagree with that sentiment. The idea being that at the very least, if you live in a property that you own, it's going to cost you to live. You have to live somewhere, and you're going to have to pay something for it, whether you're renting or buying. But if you're buying and living in the property that you buy, well, at the very least, you're paying yourself. Now, granted, if as opposed to renting a property that you're paying somebody else while somebody else pays you. I don't know. Maybe I just don't think about it enough, but I've had that conversation several times over, and I've been told probably a dozen times that I'm the idiot. I don't know what I'm talking about. By guys who know what they're talking about.
I don't know, but I feel in our generation anyway, since we've entered the working world, there's a lot more instability in economic markets than there was before. I mean, Obviously, this one's different because we have a pandemic going on. We've never dealt with that before. But regardless of the cause, the result's the same. And within the past 10 years, 11 years now, this is the second economic crisis I've lived through.
Yeah.
That means I'm averaging, in my working lifetime, I'm averaging a financial crisis every,
You heard it here first. Everybody in the chat, this is Kelly's fault. He's bad luck.
Really wait until the housing market collapses. Take Vegas, for example.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's what happened in 2008. The housing market collapsed. Well, the mortgage market collapsed. It was structured on too much debt.
Well, yeah, there you go.
But
you know that guy on public radio that talks, he's all about getting debt free. I can never remember that guy's name, but I've listened to him for years. No. Yeah, no. Dave Ramsey is awesome, but I don't think that's the guy I'm thinking of. Dave Ramsey, I believe, is the one. Isn't? No, maybe it is Dave Ramsey. Maybe that's. I always want to say his name.
That's the only one I know of.
Yeah, that's probably him. That's probably where I'm getting confused at. He's the one that's always telling you to like cut your credit cards and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I listened to him for a little while. We followed his plan for a little while. I watched a couple of his segments since this all started. He's, normally I would say Mr. Ramsey's advice is pretty spot on. These are different times. We've never faced anything like this right now. Because I heard him say, a guy say today that they think his job's laying off, et cetera, and he's like, "Oh, go work 3 or 4 jobs right now." I'm like, 3 or 4 jobs where? Half the country's not working,
I find that so weird. I find that absolutely strange because these companies they're letting off a lot of employees, and it's not just like the lower tier employees anymore. It's like, it's moving itself up. Well, things are going to come back to some extent. These companies require the staff. They don't need them right now because they're not open, but as soon as they're open, they are going to require a staff. All that is going on is while there's all these layoffs and stuff like that, what is really happening is everybody is just changing hands. People are switching employers, and right now they're in the midst of being in between their prior employer and their next. This is like the great shuffle of employers. Now there's going to be a lot of people left unemployed. There's going to be a lot of jobs left that they are no longer going to be jobs available. It's like if they had 10 employees, they're going to go back to having 8. Right. So it's not like it's going to be a 1-for-1 switch, but that's what's happening. I mean, a lot of these smaller companies, small businesses and stuff like that had 10 employees are cutting down to 8. They let go 10. Now they're going to hire 8 back. The other guy's doing the same thing, and all they're doing is just switching hands. I'm kind of curious if maybe this makes it where a lot more people get into a better fit. I don't know if that's the case, but that was just a thought that I had.
Yeah, I saw. Well, actually, it was Dave Ramsey today. I saw, and this is kind of on fishing too. I'm not an economics channel or a political channel or a financial advice channel.
Yes, you absolutely do not want to take financial advice from anything that you are seeing right now. Anybody?
No. I grew up without a pot to piss in, and I can't tell you what to do with your money. I never had any.
I buy fishing tackle. That's my financial advice.
We were talking about commercial fishing a while ago, and it was about this couple that commercial fishes Alaska this time of year, and they have, you got to pay in Alaska or whatever. You got to pay $20,000 for the lease to send your crew up there, and they say they profit about $55,000, and they didn't know what to do right now because they don't know what's going to happen next. Like right now, if you fly into Alaska and everybody on these charters has to fly in, Alaska is not connected to anything in the United States. You got to fly over Canada.
Right.
or do it, and the border shut down in Canada too.
Well, and that drive
So if
takes
you
a
fly
long
into
time.
Alaska, if you fly into Alaska, not being from Alaska right now, you got to quarantine yourself for 14 days.
In Alaska, you have to be quarantined 14 days before you can do anything
Yep. So you have to self-isolate for 14 days. So if he flew
because
in
you're
right
traveling.
now, it would take you 2 weeks before he could even get started fishing. That's if the state or the government allows them to work the lease. And Ramsey was like, well, if you don't pay it, then you lose $55,000. And I was like, yeah, but if you do pay it and you can't, then you lose $75,000.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't even know what, if faced with that decision right now, if we were sitting here right now and I had to make that decision, I would probably gamble on the profit. And I'm not a big gambler, but I would think that there would be some concessions made to allow you to be able to work. But man, that is a scary decision. You're talking about a livelihood being made.
Man. Even
Yeah, I don't
facing the
know.
profit right now, because I'm also facing a massive loss.
Yeah,
Because
and you talk about this, the exact same problem on a mass scale of it's not just the Alaskan fishing industry. It's the all the restaurants in town. It's the people making toilet paper, that kind of thing. All of these, that exact same decision is being put in front of so many different industries right now and now I don't think it's like a panic, like, oh my God, I don't know what the future holds. 3 months from now, we're all going to be living in yurts with Kelly. I don't know. I don't think it's going to be that direction, but man, it's going to be a confusing couple of months for us.
Yeah. But anyway, before we depress everybody, is there any other fishing discussions we can have? Has there been any, besides the jetties closing, has there been any changes to like your seasons or your openers there?
No, and rightfully so. I mean, they haven't made any adjustments at all, and I am absolutely loving that. Yeah, we got kicked off. I'm not able to do for a time there. I wasn't able to do any fishing, but neither was anybody else. Those fish are sitting out there, and they are getting fatter by the day. So I got no problems with that.
We've had some changes actually due to closures of some of the DNR offices and things like that, but also we're under the statewide shelter-in-place lockdown here, and our changes have been, Pennsylvania is known for its trout fishing, so they have the put and take stock trout program here, of course, and we have 18 different regions that open earlier than the rest of the state. So the southeastern region open 2 weeks before the statewide because it warms up quicker. That has been canceled. The Mentored Youth program has been canceled. And right now we're scheduled to open trout season April 18th. But I would honestly say that's probably going to be canceled too, because the social distancing guidelines have been extended to April 30th anyway.
Yeah.
And if you've ever, I mean, I know you haven't, but if anybody in the region has one of these, opening day is like a holiday to a lot of people here. It is 10 people or less, or social distancing. Sometimes it's like this,
Yeah.
People fishing these stock trout.
That's how it was at the jetty that weekend that I was there. I remember it was spring break, which is the exact same thing for us. Like spring break, if you get a nice day on spring break, it is going to be like there's going to be 100,000 people on the beach. And there wasn't, but there was not, less than 10-person circles.
Pennsylvania has trout. Yes, the brook trout is the state fish of Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania has trout. Quite a few of them.
They got a lot of trout right now. Nobody's fishing for them.
We've got them. But,
they're fat now.
Well, actually, natives, you can catch and release. You can fish catch and release non-harvest streams for natives, with flies are artificial right now. What you can't do is you cannot fish for anything, and this is every year, that is approved trout waters. They'll have a sign posted on it. You cannot fish for anything that is approved trout waters between March 1st and the regional opener. But that's every year. You can't fish in them at all because they don't want you catching the trout before trout season.
Right.
And you have to buy a trout stamp in Pennsylvania. I thought the only thing Pennsylvania had was a drug and prostitution problem.
Is that Mike? Of course that's Mike. Of course it is.
Isn't he from Michigan?
He's from North Dakota.
North Dakota. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that explains it. I know.
I've been to Fargo, buddy. You're not far off, okay? I saw the movie, too.
Had a buddy of mine. He was from Fargo. Weirdest individual. He used to live in my closet. We called him. His name was Johnny. We called him Johnny Five. Strange individual. Speaking of Fargo people, that sent me on a tangent.
I've got when I was on the railroad, I got a buddy who's from Mandan. That's right across the river from Fargo.
So it's essentially the same thing. Like it's crazy separated by a river.
It's like Dallas and Fort Worth.
Yeah, same thing. In Arlington, yeah. I think they're all the same thing.
Yeah. Which I've actually been a Cowboys fan my whole life, but that was upsetting.
Man, I tell you what, Cowboys down here, that's a different conversation. Because for one, we all love Cowboys, obviously, for very obvious reasons. But for two, some people in that organization have really run that thing into the ground in the last few years. Not everybody wants to be associated with that. And for three, Cowboys fans suck. And nobody wants to be associated with Cowboys fans. Even if they're winning, the Cowboys fans suck.
Yeah. But I am one, so I don't think I suck.
You don't. Okay, that's kind of different. I apologize. I didn't mean to put it in that direction like you like that. Because when I say that, what I'm thinking of is, I worked for a grocery store or a convenience store chain down here for the last couple of years, and we had a Cowboys promotion, and so we had all those fans coming in when we were doing that. And they are the worst. They're the worst. In groups, in droves, they are the worst. I'm not saying that an individual Cowboys fan is bad or good or a terrible human being. I'm not saying anything like that. But as a group, Cowboys fans are just awful.
Moorhead, Minnesota is across the river from Fargo. Yeah. Now, I apologize. My name is beside Fargo, though, right? I'm pretty sure that's right. It's been a little while.
I'm going to refrain from making Moorhead jokes. But I do have to say I've been, we've been at it for an hour and 20 minutes here, so it's getting to that point to where those kind of jokes are going to start getting made.
Bismarck, Mandan are across the Missouri from each other. Okay. I haven't been in 20 years.
Yeah, I've never done Minnesota. Done Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Minnesota, North Dakota, same thing. Sorry, Mike, I had to.
Mandan is 200 miles from Fargo. No, I apologize, Mike. I was wrong. Bismarck. Oh, okay. Bismarck. Yeah. Bismarck's the capital, right?
Yeah, 200 miles. That's all it takes. If you'd have met Johnny Five, then you would totally understand that 200 miles is all it takes.
Ooh, excuse me. You catching anything right now, Mike? Any fishing allowed in North Dakota right now?
Texas and Mexico are the same thing. Yeah, man. Like Central South Texas to Mexico, that's the same thing. I live in mini Mexico. You nailed it with that. I believe the Nueces River is where they used to draw the line, the border for Mexico, which splits Corpus Christi in half. So yeah, I actually live in what used to be Mexico. The Louisiana Purchase.
No restrictions in my state. Yeah, well, everybody's pretty far apart in North Dakota, aren't they?
Oh, that must be nice.
I can't say the same. A lot of restrictions here.
Yeah, they had the weirdest thing with when they kicked us off the jetty that day. I won't get into like the finer points of the whole thing because it got kind of strange. But effectively, what they made the rule was that you're totally allowed to be on the beach, not a problem. But they closed the roads to the beach, so you're absolutely fine being on the beach. You can exercise, do whatever you want, business as usual, just as long as you're not in groups of 10 people or more. But there's no physical way of getting onto the beach. The city was able to shut down the roads so you couldn't get there, but you're allowed to be there.
Right. That's terrible.
Yeah, they've since changed it, but yeah, for pretty obvious reasons. That was I think it still was a slap in the face, but it was a little bit of a no, go to the beach. That's fine. Go ahead. They're not closed.
I had a question. When we were talking about alternate living a while ago, you ever considered living on a boat like Zofinger?
Yes, I have. I've talked to Rachel about it, and I haven't been able to convince her. More than likely because the options that I gave her were pretty shitty boats, like shrimp haulers. I didn't sell it the way I should have.
Yeah. She doesn't want to be a commercial shrimper, huh?
Yeah. No, nobody thinks that you're a brat because you decided to turn me down on your on the option of living on a shrimp hauler. There's not one person on here that's going to disagree with you for that decision. I don't disagree with you for that. Baby cows, what kind of bait you use for that, Mike?
Rubber gloves.
Yeah. FYI, I'm afraid I got a couple of things I got to take care of. I'm gonna have to. I got about 5 minutes left in me here. Then I'm gonna have to head on over here.
No problem. I think an hour and a half is good. Just kind of keep our channels active. Talk to somebody outside of our circle.
Yeah, I totally hear you on that one. It's nice just to be able to hang out and talk to anybody, like in general. Obviously, socialization is not something that's really happening right now. So this is the extent of human contact that I have had the last couple of days. With the with the exception of spending a lot of wonderful time with my family, which I very much enjoyed.
You have a little sign that tells you, please.
Now, to answer Grant's question about buying her a yacht, we actually had that conversation the last couple of days. We were looking at buying a boat, kind of a funny thing, and I found a 36-foot bayliner for $6,500. And I was like, hell yeah. I know, Kelly. I totally understand. I feel the same way because it's like $6,500 for 36 foot. Yeah, it's rad. The problem, the catch, is that this thing is in Fort Worth. It's sitting in a lake. It's in a marina. So you got to pay the insurance. You got to pay the marina fees and all of that stuff. And then you have to put it on a trailer and get it down to you and have it stored somewhere around you. So like I either put it in a marina here. It doesn't come with a trailer. So you got to buy a trailer or a truck to haul it. You know what I mean? Like all those expenses just pile up really quick. The boat for $6,500 is reasonable considering the amount of expense it would take to get it out of there. I'd love to do it, but
yeah, it would take a lot of expense.
And Rachel was on board. She was even going to live on it with me. She wasn't going to live on it.
I don't know. Marty Zoffinger did it. I think it's just a matter of, we talk about it. Zoffinger pulled the trigger.
Yeah.
You just tell them you're not a sea bass and they have authority over you, so go away, fish cop. Yeah, guaranteed I end up in jail.
Yeah, I tell you what,
I don't know about North Dakota, but the wardens of the game commission and the wardens here, or the fish cops, work at the privilege of the governor, and the governor has expanded their rights by a lot right now.
Really? They're already more powerful than cops down here.
I don't doubt that. I would actually say they probably are in North Dakota too. Here out west, the game warden has more authority than a lot of city police officers.
Yeah, game warden can get you.
Because the
I don't even know.
Game warden has authority all over the state.
Yep.
And they are
exactly right.
Milk or G? Yes.
I know growing up in Tennessee, the wardens down there are TWRA, Tennessee Wildlife Resource Agency. And not only the authority they had, but they also carried more firepower than any police officer did.
I don't know.
A 9mm is the 9mm is a standard police officer's issued weapon.
Right.
The game warden's standard weapon is a .357 Magnum.
I don't know. That's funny. And I don't know what our guys carry down here. I try to keep in good relations with them, but I've had, in my younger days, I've had my run-ins with them. And I try to make amends for that these days. I've never come across their firepower. I don't know what they carry, but man, I know that I'd rather get pulled over by a cop if that's what it came down to.
Not in North Dakota. They have jurisdiction here like counties. Most game wardens have a jurisdiction. They're assigned a district or whatever, but at least in the states I've lived in, they're state employees. They've got statewide jurisdiction.
All right, friend.
Like they can go to different districts and work. It isn't like they're just they can only be a game warden in this county. They're state employees.
Yeah, and you know what? I don't know what I don't know how they would enforce this, but like down here in Texas, we have Texas state limits and bag possession limits, and then we also have federal possession limits, which means that we have to leave the state of Texas to get into federal waters and international waters. And I want to say that's TPAW, Texas Parks and Wildlife, that enforces that. I may be wrong, but I believe it is. And in order for them to be able to enforce that, that means that they would have to be able to go into international waters to get us. I've never pushed that one, so I don't know. But I just kind of feel like that's how that would need to be. You know what I mean? And there's no cop that can go into any international scenario to enforce anything, to my knowledge.
No, I don't think so. But
I don't know how they draw the line on that, come to think of it, but there's a line drawn. There has to be a way to do it.
They're assigned we have 3 different commissions in Pennsylvania. We have the DNC, which I forgot what they stand for. What DNC stands for exactly, but it's just called DNC. We have the Pennsylvania Game Commission, which is game wardens for game, and then we have the Fish and Boat Commission. And I didn't like they have districts. They're assigned districts or whatever that they patrol. But They have authority all over the state. Like, if a game commissioner's visiting Pittsburgh for the weekend or family or something, and he sees you commit a crime, he still has authority even if he's out of Philadelphia, as long as it's in Pennsylvania. U.S.
That's
Marshal,
interesting.
International Waters, I guess, is U.S. Marshal.
Gotcha. Okay, I was wondering. Yeah, I'm glad you asked that because I was wondering what the correlation was. And the reservations, I never even thought about that.
I actually saw somebody today fishing in one of the approved trout waters. And I'm seeing a lot of memes and stuff going around. People saying, well, the book says this date, so I'm going fishing anyway. And I was like, yeah, I just passed by. I was driving. But I was like, even before it was canceled, and I know they put signs out everywhere saying it was canceled, but even before it was canceled, the trout opening day, the regional one, isn't until Saturday. So if you're fishing in it now, you were already breaking the law. And now you're just being an asshole about it. Well, Stanley, I guess we're going to wrap it up here tonight.
Yeah, I'm afraid I got to take off here. I've got a little bit more paperwork that I've got to do for some of the stuff I've got to take care of tomorrow.
I fear. Hey, I hope everything goes all right. DM me tomorrow, man. I want to know how everything comes out. If you find
I appreciate that. Yeah, I appreciate that, man. I'll keep in touch with you.
Yeah, stay healthy.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I'm going to be fine. It's not a thing. There's a lot of precautionary stuff going on. Everybody freaks out about anything with a cough these days.
Yeah, we actually, it was on the news, like, craziness, but guy at a gas station was pumping gas. Guy across from him starts coughing, and he's like, hey, dude, cover your mouth, man. Dude starts shooting at him for telling him to cover his mouth.
Yeah, that's just the, I don't know. With everything that's going on, I understand. I get it. Everybody's stressing out about everything. I'm not one to panic too much about much. Like if this is what you're seeing, if what's going on, if this is coronavirus, I'm not too stressed about that. More than likely I'm negative, and I'm fine. Or I'm positive and this is what positive looks like. I don't know, but I'm not stressing out too much about it. I'm not going to be that guy at the gas pump chewing people out for coughing.
No, but what's funny is the dude that was coughing started shooting at him.
Oh, they literally started doing that.
Yeah.
I thought you were. I didn't understand.
No, he took a gun out and shot through his window, shot his tire, shot his car, and then the guy getting away ran over the dude shooting at him with his car to get away, and then it said both people were charged with assault. I'm like, once a guy starts shooting at me, I can do anything I need to get away. And
I agree. You should get free reign on that one.
Self-defense,
It's sad.
Like,
it's just sad.
Telling a guy to cover his mouth is not the same as being shot at.
Yeah. I don't even want to get into that. That's a terrorist thing nowadays, If you assault somebody like it, if you have AIDS and you, oh, no, what was it? I heard a story about somebody who was in dialysis, and I think they had AIDS or something to that effect, and he pulled out his dialysis stuff because he got mad about something, which sprayed blood everywhere, and that was a terroristic threat. That was a felony because his blood was everywhere and could affect people.
We had some dumbass lady who coughed all over like produce.
Yes, I've heard that. Yeah,
and they had to throw away like $35,000 worth of inventory.
Yep, heard about that one.
And she caught like 6. That was here, and she caught like 16 charges from it.
What did she expect? Everybody's freaking out. They're all flipping out. This pandemic is absolutely inundating every single aspect of our lives. And she thought she was going to get away with something. She thought it was a joke.
No.
Just move along, let everybody do their thing. Give it a couple of months. and then make your jokes. But right now, people are freaking out. Just go sit in your house. Go hoard your toilet paper.
Whatever that's about.
Yeah,
I think
exactly. That had nothing to do with anything.
Hour and 35 minutes tonight. Hey, Stanley, I really appreciate you coming on tonight and just shooting the spot with us.
Yeah, Kelly, I enjoyed it. I appreciate you having me, man.
Yeah. I think everybody in the chat tonight's already subscribed. If you're not, we appreciate it if you do that. If you want to hit that thumbs up on your way out, that helps our channels grow. Everybody hit me up. Let me know if you're going live or if you want to do a live with me sometime so we can all just kind of get through this together. Thanks for coming in tonight, everybody.
Grant, Mike, appreciate you guys. Y'all have a good one, man.
Yeah. Grant, Mike, good night. Good night, Stanley.
Good night, Kelly. It's good seeing you, man.
You as well, man.